Welcome. Matt Unruh here with Coach Mark James, head women's coach at the Dodge City Lady Conchs, as February the 12th, I believe now. If I'm
All day.
All day.
All day.
And coming off a couple tough losses, Coach. Lose to Pratt on the road and then fall to Cloud County last night. Let's start with the Pratt game at the Beaver Dome, following 77-69, an 8-point loss. It seems like you had a handful of these games, Coach. I know you only have one winning conference so far, but a lot of these conference games where you're close but just can't get over the hump to get the victory.
Yeah, we've been extremely competitive. That's one good thing I'll say about the team that I'm super proud of, and it's one of those things where you can live with the results, because they're continuing to show up every day and work hard. They don't let the record affect their effort. They don't let one game carry over to the next. We've played a really tough schedule. The Jayhawk West is really loaded this year. From top to bottom, it's a lot of quality basketball teams. And when you go on the road, it's always tough. When you go on the road in conference, it's just that much more tougher. And we had beaten Pratt at our place, so they, I'm sure they were a little extra focused for that game. And we played well. We just couldn't get enough shots to fall late. We battled the entire game. I think we were down one with just a few minutes left, and they hit a couple free throws to kind of stretch it out a little bit at the end. But we're just kind of going through a stretch right now where we're playing really well through stretches, and then we'll kind of go through a 4 or 5 minute stretch where we just can't get shots to fall. And then we're right there at the end of the game, and it seems like we'll just have kind of one costly little mistake that the other team just capitalizes on. And then, that's what good teams do. And when we're playing really good teams on the road or at home, you can't have those costly, timely mistakes that we're having right now. And the other teams they're really capitalizing on them.
Well, 3 players in double digits for you. Seems like a pretty balanced effort scoring-wise, at least against Pratt. 14 for Talisha Presley, 12 for Newton, and 10 for Whipple. Do you like the balance that you see right now?
Oh yeah. It's tough to game plan against us as far. You can't key in on 1 or 2 people. We have any number of kids that can go out there and get double figures on any given night. We had 5 last night in double figures, like you mentioned, 3 against Pratt, and even when we don't have double, we'll have somebody with 8 and 9 and somewhere in that range. So we don't have a lot of one-man team efforts where we come out and somebody will score 20 and the next leading scorer is in the 6th kid. We just don't have that. We'll have a lot of kids around the teens to 11 to 10, and that makes it a lot more fun, I'm sure, for them, because the shots are more balanced. It's not a pass to one kid and just kind of get out of the way and let her do her thing. And it's a lot easier to coach, like I said, because it helps the game plan for us, and it definitely makes it tougher for another team to game plan. You just never know which one's going to step up and play, and that makes it kind of fun, and it makes it a little easier to coach that way too.
Got to speak volumes to your depth in your team too, Coach.
Yeah, it really does, and it's one of when somebody gets in foul trouble, on most teams it's probably a bigger deal than it is for us. We don't. It's not one of those things where we have to sit around and dwell on it and feel sorry for ourselves. We just kind of plug in the next player, and typically they come in and we don't miss a beat, and we just keep rolling.
Well, Coach, last night got a home game versus Cloud team. Kind of towards the bottom of the conference as well with you guys, in a high-scoring game at the Civic Center last night. You fall 87-79, and again, one of those games where you fall by 8.
Yeah, we led most of the game last night, and we were up 8. We had a lot of things going well for us. Defensively, we were really flying around, and we put in a little press that we haven't run a whole lot this year, and I thought that confused Cloud a little bit and sped them up. We tried to do a few different things defensively that I thought worked. Cloud's just, I know they're towards the bottom. It's another good basketball team. It's just they're kind of right there in the middle. They may be towards the bottom today, but they're about a win away from getting 4th. So they're a quality basketball team. Coach Erkenbrack does a really good job with them. He's always got them playing hard, regardless of what their record is or who he has available. They always show up every single game. So it was a good game for us. It was a good test. I thought we battled, we competed. A little disappointing to lose it, because, like I said, we did lead for a high majority of the game. And again, just towards the end, we have a couple silly turnovers that Cloud capitalizes on, and then we give up the lead with a couple minutes to go, and then we got to play catch up, and we have to foul, and they kind of stretch it out to 8.
Well, Mitch, turnovers, 15 points off turnovers, although 10 turnovers for you to Cloud had 22 turnovers.
Yeah, like I said, we really sped the pace up. We really thought we had a big-time advantage with our guards against their guards. Not to take anything away from those young ladies over there, but I just felt like we were the better team for a high-tempo game. We have more athletes than they do, and like I said, particularly at the guard spot. So we really wanted to get out and kind of frustrate them in the full court, pressure them in the half court, because their post players are of high quality that could hurt us, and they did hurt us. But when we were able to speed them up, we did a really good job with that. But just seemed like when we would get turnovers, even though we took care of the ball extremely well, 10 turnovers in a high-paced game is, you're going to win a lot of games doing that. But just seemed like when we did get a turnover, it was one that led to a transition bucket for them. So our turnovers were costly, and we did turn them over 22 times, which, like you had mentioned, was key for us. I mean, that was one of the big-time things we wanted to work on, one of the big keys for the game. And you look up and down those stats. It's tough to find where we lost the game, because we won a lot of the majority. They just hit some key shots at the end that hurt us.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Sarah Ottoman and her crew for excellent job on stats.
And I'll piggyback that. They have, and not to interrupt you, but they have. When you really learn to appreciate it when you go to the other schools, and stats are, I have to redo them because you just know that they're not even close.
Yeah.
Or you get a halftime stat, and I mean, a kid is in the box score that didn't even play, and it's really frustrating sometimes. And then you come here and you got stats at the media timeouts. They're super accurate, and no, like you had mentioned, she does a phenomenal job. Her and her whole staff.
Yeah, absolutely. One stat that she put in here that does stand out is Cloud County. You mentioned their depth down low, 46 points in the paint last night. So that's where they got their points.
Yeah, they hurt us. We were short a couple people. We've had a removal from the team of one of our big kids, and then we've had another young lady was sick yesterday. So we were really thin at the forward/post position. So we had to play some kids. We had to play a little different lineup. Had to go a little smaller, a little quicker, and I thought our kids played hard. I thought we had Talisha Presley and Tara Whipple, and some of those kids had to guard some kids with the significant height disadvantages, and they battled. They competed. We tried to do a few different things to try to combat that, and I thought the kids stuck to the plan and really played hard.
Well, high-scoring game, like we said, losing 87-79, an 8-point loss. And with a high-scoring game, you're going to have some high individual totals. And like you mentioned earlier, 5 players for your Lady Conks in double figures. Presley with 16. You had Nave with 13, 12 for Newton, and 10 apiece for Esparza and Williams. Another balanced effort.
Yeah, it really was. It was one of those where we had some kids that stepped up in the first half, and then we had some kids score late in the second half. So really proud of the effort that they gave. The balanced attack, like I mentioned and touched on earlier, just makes it so tough to try to game plan and defend us, because if you want to take away, I know a lot of people try to take away our guards. Well, then if you have a Alejandra Esparza step up and score like she did last night, or if you have Joe Williams like she did last night, it makes it tough on a team to game plan. So it makes it a lot easier to coach a game when you can have anybody at any given time step up and get double figures for you.
Matt Unruh here with Mark James, head women's basketball coach for the Lady Conks. And coach, 3 games left in the regular season, and I know at this point it's semi-set on who you'll be facing off with in regionals for Region 6 tournament, but be nice to get some momentum down the stretch, right?
Yeah, we just, at this point, we want to play well. We want to get some momentum heading into the playoffs. We certainly want to still take things one game at a time. We still think there's some winnable games left on the schedule, but our main thing right now is we want to make sure everything's fine-tuned and we have some confidence and kind of get things, start to play a little bit of a downhill type situation instead of feeling like we're constantly climbing uphill. So we want to get things headed in the right direction. I think we've taken a really big step towards that this past week. We've played really hard. We haven't given up, even though we've had some situations that would, a lot of teams would probably just kind of call it a day and move on to the next game. But we haven't had any of that yet, and we need to continue to push. I mean, we got a tough stretch here these last 3. You go to Seward and you go to Butler and you have Garden come home. It's a tough little 3-game stretch, so we definitely want to come in there with, we want to leave there with some confidence and head, probably looking at going to Coffeyville, like you mentioned. It's pretty well set. It's not etched in stone just yet, but we went there last year and had some success. We got the playoff win there last year and ended up going to Wichita and kind of spoiled their season. So we got kind of have our eyes set on that again. We scrimmaged them early in the season, which both teams are far removed from that day, so certainly won't look at that as any kind of measuring stick, but we competed with them and played well that day. So we'll get things headed in the right direction these last couple of weeks. We want to finish things strong, and then we'll head into tournament play with a little momentum behind us.
Well, looking ahead, we mentioned Seward. Seward on the road on Saturday. You can listen to that ball game on our AM station, 1550 AM, the Sports Hound. Damon Post on the call, kongsports.com. If you're out of range of our AM signal, then the next Saturday you get a week off. Well, not a week off, but a week off from games until the 21st. Hosting Garden on sophomore night. Catch it again on 1550 AM, the Sports Hound, kongsports.com, and also our live stream, ihigh.com/DC3, or you can link that through our gokonks.com website. Let's talk briefly about Seward County coming up on Saturday, Valentine's Day. You go to Seward, a place your team's fairly familiar with after playing in the Seward Classic earlier in the season.
Yeah, and we played well there. You know, we had 2 wins against two high-quality teams, so we certainly feel well playing in the gym. Difference is we're about to play the number 7 team in the country as opposed to the teams we played earlier on. But, you know, we'll compete. We'll go in and we'll battle. You know, we played them really tough here at home the first time. We got off to a really slow start. Seward jumped on us, I believe, 18-2. And, again, that's one of those things where you're playing a top 10 team in the country, you're down 16 in the first 5 minutes. It's really easy to just kind of roll over and maybe play a little selfish basketball and just try to worry about getting your stats because you assume you're going to lose. But we didn't have any of that. I mean, we took it in stride and kind of chipped away and we competed. I think we got the lead back to about 4 or 5 and really gave them a run and just fell short at the end. But it's a team that we respect. You know, Coach Wynn does a great job. I don't know if there's too many more coaches in the league that I respect more than Coach Wynn, and he always has his teams playing well this time of year. So we'll have a good challenge. It's always fun to coach against him. It's never fun to coach against his teams, though, because they're always, you know, high caliber. But I think our girls are going to take the challenge, and I really expect us to come out and play really well Saturday.
Well, like I said, faced them on the 17th of January, falling 76-59. But, I mean, like I said, a top 10 team to keep it under 20 and get within 4 or 5 in the ball game. That says a lot. But they'll probably not going to overlook the Conks, knowing that they battled well. So hopefully have a good game on Saturday. And again, tune in 1550 AM, the Sports Hound, and kongsports.com for the broadcast, or make the hour-and-a-half trip down to Seward, get some purple in the gym.
Yeah, we would appreciate it. You know, our home crowds have been great. You know, we've had some loyal followers get to some of the closer road games for us, so it's always fun to look up and see some friendly faces. It'll be their homecoming, so there'll be a lot of green in the gym at the greenhouse. So anybody that wants to make that trip is more than welcome to come. You know, football team was, and I don't want to single anybody out because I know every program has representatives in the stands, but I know last night football made a good effort to make sure their kids got there. I know they rescheduled some practice, and it was a nice environment yesterday. So we certainly have appreciated the attendance, and you know, particularly the student section to show out. You know, I know coming across town a little bit, it's not super far, but it is off campus, so not every kid comes to college with the cars, so they have to make arrangements to get to games, and we certainly appreciate every effort that they've made to give us a true home court advantage.
Well, and good news this past week is college was approved for the FEMA grant for the Activity Center Dome, and it looks like a little more dirt work getting underway for the Dome, so hopefully shortly have an even better home court advantage here in the next year or two. Coach James, thanks for the time, and look ahead to Garden City next week.